Okay, so let me briefly explain this part. So Janaka karma, so Upatthambaka karma, this enhances the effect of another karma of the same character after that karma has come to place. So for example, a good karma, if a good karma is already taking place for you, an Upatthambaka karma will come and enhance that goodness, right? Like if you're born into a good family and you are having a good life, you might win a small lottery, get a scholarship, and go to another country and study. So it enhances something. Or a bad karma can aggravate the effect of another bad karma. So let's say that somebody was born into a bad situation and already leading a hard life. And then Upatthambaka karma can come and make it even worse. Like in that bad situation, the person will meet with an accident and break the leg. And then for the next 6 months, the leg has to get repaired, and next few years also it takes. And so people break legs and the legs can get repaired. It's not a big deal, but sometimes some legs don't get repaired, and it takes a long time and a lot of pain and blah blah. So that is the kind of thing where you're already in a bad situation, and that bad situation gets even worse by a karma that supports that same nature. Upapilaka is a counteractive, which is the opposite of the Upatthambaka. So if you are in a good situation already, some mishap will happen to reduce that goodness. So that's what, let's say you are on a boating ride, enjoying a nice vacation, and really enjoying with family, your friends, right? And then suddenly the boat topples and you get tossed into the water, and you get the fright of your life, you nearly drown, you swallow a lot of water, you are taken, you get unconscious and taken to the hospital and put in the ICU, and of course you pull through, but after a lot of hard work. So that is it gives the opposite effect. Or somebody's in a bad situation already, right? Let's say a hard life, and maybe not a loving environment, right? And so on. And then on top of it, your dog dies, right? So, sorry, that was Upatthambaka. So if you're having a hard life and not much love and everything, suddenly you get a teacher at school who really likes you and is kind to you.
Miss, it's a county effect, Miss.
Sorry, Putta?
So, Miss, it's a county effect.
Counter effect, Putta. Yeah, counter effect, right? You find someone in life who really loves you and cares for you, and you feel comforted. The original bad effect is there. It's there in a big way, but there's a small counter effect where you feel that life is not so bad after all, right? It's a counter effect. Now, Upaghataka is such a strong, it's like Upapilaka gives a counter effect, but not in a small way. It completely destroys the original effect, completely destroys it. So when you saw the tsunami, that, okay, so you guys were not even born, so you don't know what I'm talking about, but there was a tsunami in the country which had a Upaghataka effect on a lot of people who were born into fortunate families, worked hard and created wealth for themselves and lived happily and comfortably. And suddenly the tsunami came and people lost the husband, the wife, the mother, the father, the children, and it was one big disaster, right? And that disaster lasts the entire life. It's very difficult to, of course, you can move on and live life, if you really understand the Dharma. But since most people don't really understand the Dharma, it becomes very difficult to live life after such a Upaghataka thing happens, because it just completely changes the way you see life. Also, it can happen the opposite way. So let's say the story I was telling about the beggar child, right? So let's say a little child was born to a beggar family, and the only person who looked after the child, let's say, was the beggar mother, and then the beggar mother dies. and the child is left abandoned, and a nice police uncle sees the child and goes and hands over the child to a orphanage. And then one day a foreign couple visits the orphanage, they see the child, and they adopt the child and take the child back to their own country. And afterwards, the child lived happily ever after. The child suddenly got two loving parents, went into a good household, a household that could support an education for him. And because he was registered under those parents, he gets the citizenship, and he lives happily in that country, right? So Upaghātaka karma is a counterproductive karma, and it completely destroys the original effect of the karma and takes you in another direction altogether, right? So that is about the karma, how it gives vipaka based on the function. Then let's look at the third column, karma, how it gives vipaka based on the priority of effect. So garuka karma, right? Then asanna karma, achinna karma, and katatta karma. So once in a Bana Putta, I heard a beautiful way one monk explained this, and I'll tell you that story. He explained it through a story. So he said, think of it like this. Think of a harakkala, right? When I say harakkala, do you know what I mean? Harakkala means a compound where cattle are put together for their own protection, right? Because especially those days, if cattle were wandering, animals can eat them like wolves and so on. Plus, cattle will wander into other people's lands and eat their vegetables and plants, and the neighbors will get very annoyed, right? And also cattle will just wander away, and anybody can steal your cattle and take them to another town or whatever. So for various reasons, cattle are usually hoarded into a compound. Usually these compounds are made with a fence, right? And then there'll usually be a gate to close. Once the cattle go in, you close it. Now, sometimes if the compound was made for, like, let's say 10 cattle, as the group grows, because then cattle will have a baby calf, and then that calf will grow up and then have more baby calves. And sometimes the compound that was made for 10 over a few years might grow to be having even 30, 40 cattle, right? So think of a compound like that. It was built for 10, but now it has about 30, 40 cattle inside. So it's a very tight pack. It's a tight packed cattle compound. All right, everybody's with me? Give me a thumbs up if you understand what I'm talking about. All right, good. All right, thank you. Thank you for that. And how come all the videos have gone off? Can we have the videos back again, please? All right, thank you. So then, so how this monk explained this is, now the cattle has been tightly packed into this compound, and now when it is lunchtime, so the cattle herding boy, right, the cow herd that we call him Gopalu Darua, right? So this guy, he comes to open the gate. Now, when in a tight compound like that, when a gate is getting opened, what will usually happen? So this reminds me of school, right? During
escape.
Yes. So during school, you might think of your own class, right? Before COVID, the good old days when you actually went to school physically, right? Sometimes when the school is near to open, and when the bell rings a couple of times now. So when I was in school, so the bell rang, I think 2 times or 3 times. So yes, it rang 3 times. So first time it rings, it signals to you now school is over. So start packing your bag and tidying your desk. Second time the bell rings, it signals that now it's time to say Gatha, right? We used to say Yovada Thampavo Gatha before we left school. Third time the bell rings means now you can leave. So generally at the third bell, the kids just run out of the class, right? And in the school I went to, there were school buses. So especially when we were in grade 6 or 7, we enjoyed running the school bus to catch seats. So it was like in the sports meet, it was like a race. So the moment the third bell rings, everybody runs out of the class, right? Now you can imagine after the second bell, Gata Kiela, Ivarela, now everyone flocks near the door, right? So imagine about 30 children flocking near one door and kind of pushing and shoving and waiting until the third bell rings, right? And then everyone tries to go at the same time out of the door. Now this happens if a teacher is not around. If a teacher is around, then there's discipline, right? So then children are at their desk and they go one after the other in a nice orderly way. This is when, if there is no teacher at that time, then the children are trying to jump over each other and everybody's trying to go out of that door at the same time. So cattle is no different, right? Cattle is no different to children at the end of a school time, right? So when a gate is being opened at lunchtime, who will jump out first? So you can imagine that the strongest, biggest bull will topple the others and jump out first. හරි ඒ ගැලේ ඉන්න ලොකුම මහතම හරකා අනිත් කට්ටියව පෙරලගෙන ඉස්සරහට පැනලා will come outside, right? And that is what will happen. ලොකු කට්ටියක් ඉන්නකොට ඉන්න ලොකුම අලිම එක්කෙනා අනිත් ඒවාත් පෙරලගෙන, because one thing is the person is big, second thing is the person is strong, right? If you are big and strong, you will just push others out. And not everybody does that. There are some people who are big and strong and very, very nice people. They are very gentle, right? And then some people, they just push everyone aside and jump out. So that is the first cattle that will jump out. Now, if there was no big, strong guy to push everyone else and jump out, what will typically happen? Typically, the guy or the girl, in case of cattle, right? The guy or the girl closest to the gate will jump out, right? Now, even in school, I remember sometimes, so teachers make sure that we rotate where we are in the class. So sometimes I'm in the first row, sometimes I'm in the middle row, sometimes I'm in the last row. Now, whenever I'm in the first row, I like it because I am also one of the kids who ran to the school bus. You know, the funny thing is I ran to catch a seat, but I never sat in the seat. I would always give it to a friend. I ran because it was fun to run. It was fun to run like a race, right? Because not only grade 6, 7, even 8, 9, all the Akkis also would run. So it's fun to, I used to always beat most of the Akkis, right? Because I was good at running. So it was just fun. I ran for the fun of running, and then I'll catch a seat. And then after catching a seat, I don't know what to do with the seat because I didn't want to sit, right? Even in a school bus, it's fun to go standing. So I'll always give it to a friend, right? Then if I was sitting in the front row, I will be always happy because then I'm closer to the door, right? Versus if I was in the last row, because even when all the children are, I wasn't one of those kids who wanted to push others, right? I was big for my age, but I wasn't a kid who wanted to push others. But if I was close to the door, I would definitely jump out first, right? So if there was no big, large person who was going to push others and jump out, then what will happen? The person closest to the door would jump out first. Now, imagine there was no big, large person who pushed the others and jumped out. Imagine the person closest to the door also for some reason didn't jump out. Then what will happen? Then there were also people who were used to leaving first, right? Now, I saw this with my daughter. Most of you know Savindya, right? So my daughter went to the same school, right? And I would some days go to pick her. So I will stand near the gate and wait. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'm wondering, what is this child doing, right? Savindya takes her own cool time to come. So I'm like, what are you doing? Are you putting all the tables and chairs away and sweeping your class and all the other classes? What were you doing so far? She was like, no, I was talking with my friends, right? So there are some kids who will take their own cool time to leave. There are some kids who are very efficient, right? The moment the bell rings, tuck, 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 they pack the bag. Then the bell rings, they tell the Gatha. Then the third bell rings, they're out of the class, right? That means හැමදාම ගිහිල්ලා පුරුදු අය ඉන්නවා නික්පන්ට. මේ පුරුදු අය යනවා. So if there's no big fat large person who is going to topple others and jump out. Or if there is no person near the front who is waiting to jump out, then people who are usually used to taking a lead will go, right? Now, what happens? Nothing happens. Then whoever is left will leave from the gate, right? So this is how this karma is defined. Now, Garuka karma is like the cattle that is big and fat and very powerful, right? That karma will jump out before all the other karma to take effect. So Puta, now you have heard of this Anantariya Papa karma, those heinous acts. What are the Anantariya Papa karma you have heard about? One is killing your mother. Second is killing your father. Third is killing a Rahatan Vahanse, right? Fourth is causing an injury to the Buddha, right? And the fifth one is causing a division in the Sangha, right? So the five are Anantariya Papa Karma Paha, Mava Merima, Piya Merima, Rahatan Vahanse Kenek Merima, Budunge Ange Leselavima, and the last one is Sangha Bede, right? So killing a father, killing a mother, killing a Rahatan Vahanse, causing an injury to the Buddha that causes the Buddha to bleed, and the division of the Sangha. So if you remember, Devudat Theranuo did two of these heinous crimes. He toppled a big rock up on the Gidjakuta Parvataya, and that rock hit another rock, and a splint of rock actually caused a small injury on the Buddha's foot, right? So that was one. Secondly, he managed to cause some 50 odd new monks who had joined. He managed to fool them and get them to quit the sasana and come with him, thinking that he's the good person. Okay, so somebody is asking what is my school. So I went to two schools, Puta. I went to Girls High School, Mount Lavinia, up to the grade 5 scholarship. And after the grade 5 scholarship, I went to Visakha, right? And because I was a Visakian, under the old girl criteria, I could get Savindyaki to grade 1. So Savindyaki went to Visakha from grade 1. Yeah, that is in response to a question that asked. Right. So, so the Garuka karma is like those Anantariya Papa karma. Imagine, Puta, somebody had done this Anantariya Papa karma 20 births before, right? So not this birth, not last birth, not the previous birth to the last birth, not the previous birth to the last birth. You can go back, and 20 births before this birth, imagine somebody had done an Anantariya Papa karma. Okay, let's say the person had killed a parent, right? Now 20 births before this happened. And when the person is going to get born for the 21st time, what will happen? That Anantariya Papa karma, Akusala karma, it is so big and so powerful, even though it happened 20 births before.
Yes, it would affect his rebirth.
Mokada Puta?
Miss, it would affect his.
It will affect the rebirth. That is what this is all about, right? What you think, say, and do affects everything else. Some will affect this birth itself. Some will affect you in the next birth. Some things are so big and powerful, they will affect you every birth until either a very, very long time or until you attain nirvana one day, right? So Anantariya Papa karma, those 5 things, killing your mother, killing your father, killing an arahant, causing an injury to the Buddha, and division of Sangha are so bad and so big and so powerful, they will keep coming after you again and again and again. So that is why even a bad thing like that done 20 births before, right? So imagine 20 births before somebody killed their father. And then since then, the person was being good and good and good and good and good for the next 19 births. But in the 21st birth, what happens at the time the person is going to get born, just like the big powerful cattle will topple everyone else and jump out first. That Anantariya Papa Karma will topple all the other karmas you have accumulated and jump out first and cause your birth to be in a bad place like Asatarapaya. And once you are born there, will cause you, it's so powerful, you will just stay there. So that is why they say Anantariya Papa Karma Karama. Anantariya kiyane ekai. For a long, long, long time, there's a payback for a long, long, long time. Right? Similarly, the good things, very powerful good stuff that you do will, like that big powerful kettle, even if it is a very powerful good thing was done 20 births before, it will jump out ahead of others and cause good things to happen. Right? So that is the power of the Garuka Karma. Right? I'll just tell you the other ones also and stop, and we can revise again next week. Asanna Karma is like the death, is the death proximate karma. So this is the one where the monk explained that if the big powerful guy is not there to jump and topple everyone and leave first, go to the entrance first, then the guy or girl who is closest to the gate will leave. Right? That is the asana karma, the death proximate karma. That is what we discussed before. So like, at the time of death, if some thought comes to your mind, if it is a good thought, that will lead to your next birth. If it is a bad thought, that will lead to your next birth. But if it is not, if it was just a momentary thing, just at the time of death only, it's not powerful, Puta. Right? It will just last for those 7 days and then it goes off. Achinna karma, this is where I told you if there's the big fat powerful guy, there's no guy to jump out like that, so that person has done no Anantariya Papa Karma. And there is really no death proximate karma also. Then what will happen? Habitual karma. People who habitually are used to leaving first will leave. That is where, this is what you need to bank on. That is, good things you have done habitually for a long period in this life will come and give effect in a right place. This is why I say, look, you don't know what Anantariya Papa Karma that may have happened, but I can fairly easily tell you, looking at you kids, you haven't done any Anantariya Papa Karma, children, because if you have done any, it's not possible for you on a Saturday morning like this to be listening to a Dhamma sermon. Having been born to a good family, having good parents with you, having the income that your parents have, and having the support that you are getting in your life, it is only possible for people who have merit. Think කරපු අයට විතරයි පුතා ඕගොල්ලන් ඔයාගේ වගේ ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So none of you had done any Anantariya Papa Karma, that I can tell you, just looking at the fact that you are here, right, with good parents, good families, having access to good education. These are definitely not characteristics of anyone who has done Anantariya Papa Karma. No way, right? So you don't have any Anantariya Papa Karma in your life, guaranteed. Whether you had a death proximate karma in your last birth, I don't know, and it doesn't matter because that lasts only for 7 days. Okay, so don't care, don't matter. That is also gone. So obviously you had habitual karma last birth, and that is what you must do this birth also. Habitual karma kiyane puta, thinking, speaking, and doing good things on a regular basis. Not only on a Saturday or a Sunday, every day. Right? So that is why you are coming to a Dhamma school. That is why you are having Buddhism as a subject at school, because this is to teach you that being good has its benefits. All right? Being good is the best thing to do. Being good is the best insurance you can have in life, because you are assured, guaranteed of a good return this birth and in the next birth. So what does being good mean? Being good means, Puta, speaking good words. What are the good words to speak? I'll tell you what are the bad words. Bad words is lying, right? Telling tales, right? Using harsh words and gossiping. Yeah, those are bad words. Good words are speaking the truth, speaking kindly and respectfully, right? In a manner that people feel valued, in a manner people feel appreciated, right? You can use words to help people. If somebody is looking sad or tired, you can use words to help the person feel loved and cared for and supported, right? Words can be very, very, very powerful if they are used in the right way. Yeah. And let's say your mom or dad is looking sick or tired. You can go and talk very nicely, very kindly. Why, mom? Why, dad? What is wrong? Can I help you? Right? And they'll feel so blessed that they have such a child like you who is so kind and so caring and speaks good words in a soft manner, right? With a lot of respect. Yeah. Similarly, what you do, yeah, you must never do anything that hurts somebody by words or by action. Never. Right? I tell parents also that they must never do anything that hurts anybody, not even their child. So scolding anybody, hitting anybody is not a good thing, right? Because nobody likes being scolded and nobody likes being hit. Okay. So that is something you must take very seriously into heart. You may have siblings, you may not always like them, but you must cultivate kindness and care and compassion and never say anything that will hurt somebody's feelings. Never do anything that will hurt someone. Yeah. And that will guarantee you. And while you should never do things that hurt people, you must consciously do things that is kind to others, that is caring to others, that is supportive of others. Right? As a child, there's a lot of things you can do. You can help your friends with homework. You can help friends who got sick by helping them with their missing notes. You can explain things to them, right? You can help your parents at home. You can help your siblings at home. So there's a lot you can do. And everything will have a good effect. Guaranteed. Okay. All right. So I will stop there and